Hey, my name's Abigail, and I really just wanted to have this conversation with you guys. If you come across this video, you might not come across this video. And I just wanted to talk about how important it is for Black people, especially young Black people, to establish what their priorities are. I feel like we as the Black community, we're too busy chasing the wrong things. We're too busy partying. We're too busy, being outside, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. My point is it's very insignificant. It's very insignificant because we're putting our time and our effort into things that are inconsequential. And I'm just going to be really real. I feel like the Black community, a lot of Black nations, African nations, are being left behind when you compare them to their counterparts throughout the world. Just representation matters. I feel like that, I might get reactions from people that are like, oh, you're generalizing, but the culture that surrounds the Black community, baby mamas, this, that, corruption. You look at African nations, there's corruption left and right. All of this doesn't define us as people, especially starting from now. Young Black people really need to shift their attention from things like partying and toxic friendship groups to start thinking about their life and planning out their life and getting that seat at the table. Representation matters. Start thinking about investment, creating businesses. This is why I started recording this video, because I really wanted to start a channel where we just start uplifting Black voices and really talking about things that do matter for the young Black people out there who are not like the rest in that way, and that they want something, they aspire to something more for themselves. I visited China a couple of years back, and if you compare China to Nigeria, because I'm Nigerian, it looks like we're thousands, I'm not even being dramatic, it looks like we're thousands of years behind. Every community, every race has its problems, but I really wanted to focus on the Black community. A lot of Chinese people, the people that they look up to and guide to, it's not rappers or athletes or football stars. I'm not saying that you can't be a football star or you can't be a rapper, but that's not all we are. There are people that have ambitions and aspire to be politicians, to be doctors, to be lawyers, to be scientists, to be people part of the tech community. If you're a young person like me and you're thinking to yourself, a young Black person, and you're thinking to yourself that you want more for yourself in your life, you aspire to become someone more. And I just wanted to create that space for people that are trying to take ownership of their life and start thinking about getting that seat at the table. Another thing that I wanted to touch on is that not one African nation has a nuclear bomb. And I say that because it's scary. Every single community on this planet has a nation that can represent them or can defend them when shit hits the, excuse my language, shit hits the fan. India has a nuclear bomb that represents the Indian community. They can defend themselves. They can, take a stand if, their nation is being threatened. Russia has a nuclear bomb. Not one African nation has a nuclear bomb. That's scary. That means the whole entire African continent is very vulnerable. It's very vulnerable. A lot of our leaders, they're not independent. They can't stand by themselves because they're weak. They can't protect their people to that extent. Gaddafi, I know there's a lot of controversy about Gaddafi, but Gaddafi really cared about a united Africa and a united people. And he was invested in getting a nuclear weapon for his country because he understood that not a single African nation had a nuclear weapon, and he understood that the disadvantage that put us as an African nation, as African people. I know it's kind of generalized. I keep on saying African people, black people, but when you interact with different people around the world, they don't see you as Nigerian or Kenyan or Ghanaian. They see you as a black person. And I feel like what one person does represents us all. So if a group of black people are acting ghetto or are, committing crimes, even though white people do commit crimes, when a black person does it, it becomes more publicized by the media to spin the narrative that black people are violent, ghetto. In my opinion, black people are the most criticized group. Something that a white person can do, a black person cannot get away with as easily. There needs to be a shift. There needs to be a shift in the mentality of young black people. We need to stop thinking about the now. The now is good, being the present, but we also need to start being prospective about our futures and about generations to come. And there's so much noise. I just wanted to talk about the noise. There's so much noise, even in the political. If your ambitions is to go into politics like me, there's so much noise from, if you look at American politics, the left and the right. You have the black conservatives agreeing with some of the very controversial and very generalized things that a lot of white conservatives have their sentiments about black people, and you have black conservatives affirming those views, and then on the other hand you have liberals, and you have this constant polarization. Even in African nations, you have this noise about corruption, and there's just so much noise. I think we need to get our priorities straight as black people. Chinese people have their priorities straight. Indians have their priorities straight. They plan out their futures because they know that it sends a message to other people in their community, and I think we need to start doing that.